Hello, Steve White, Steve White's 89. Well, Friday the 13th is upon us again. It seems a long time since there was a Friday the 13th, and frankly, I haven't enjoyed the last couple of Friday the 13th as much as I normally would because, well, we're basically living in a horror movie, so it doesn't seem as much fun celebrating Friday the 13th as normally would be. I'd normally get really excited over Halloween and Friday the 13th, but like I said, we're living in a horror movie. But it's Friday the 13th, and I said, I'm going to do it. Normally, every Friday the 13th, I watch all the films. I do a marathon. I start on Thursday night after midnight, because technically it's Friday the 13th, and I watch the first 4 films, and then sometimes I start watching the 5th one and fall asleep during it, because, and then I start the next marathon a bit earlier in the day with the 5th film, because it doesn't matter so much if I watch it before it's dark, because it's the 5th film. And then I sort of get ready for the 6th film. Then I watch the rest of the films, and I run right through to Jason versus Freddy. And normally Jason X is the last film chronologically, so I watch that. And then I usually watch the remake. Some years I don't make it to the remake, or I fall asleep during it and don't watch the whole thing. 'Cause it's okay. It was kind of good in the cinema. I enjoyed it, but it doesn't have the review ability because once you he kind of scared me. The new Jason kind of scared me, but once you know what happens, it's not scary. Whereas the other films were a bit more fun, so even though I know what's going to happen, I still enjoy watching them. Like every year, like every Friday the 13th, every year, I watch all the films. And I normally go through the special features and stuff. Now, I haven't done that for a while. I'm really behind. I found a lot of videos and documentaries, and there's a lot of fan films that have been made that I haven't watched, so there's a lot of that stuff because normally the next day during the day I try and catch up on all watch the special features and that from the box sets, then try and watch any new interviews and stuff, which I normally save for Friday the 13th because I only watch Friday the 13th stuff on Friday the 13th. I only watch Halloween stuff on Halloween, and I only watch Valentine's Day stuff on Valentine's Day, and I like to try and be traditional with how I watch my films and that, and sort of. So there's a bunch of fan films I haven't seen yet that I'm going to try and get through this year, but normally what I do is I try and watch most of that stuff on the Friday before it gets dark to watch the movies at night, and then the next day I let it drag into Saturday like most of the films do, and try and catch up on all the special features and that this year. Each year, but I think this year, I'm actually going to sit and just, if it takes me till Monday or Tuesday, I'm going to go through all this stuff because there's a lot of stuff I haven't even watched. Documentaries I haven't watched. Commentaries, I don't think I watched. If I have, it's so long I can't remember, so I need to watch them again. So that's what today is going to be. But the cases, there's been a little bit of news, but not really on the case. It's been 5 years, basically. Sean S. Cunningham and Victor Miller have been fighting over who owns the rights to Jason, who created him, so forth and so on. There were laws that gave the rights for the film and the characters and everything back to Sean S. Cunningham because he wrote it, but then, and Victor Miller basically said, no, it's mine, and then he said, no, it's mine, because he was claiming that it was a work for hire, so we never owned it, but apparently after a certain amount of years, the rights to characters revert back to the people who created them, and blah, blah, blah. So it's been a big mess. They've been in court for years. It's going nowhere. There was one brief little flicker of something happening where one of the lawyers was trying to use another case where some people were trying to establish who, wrote a song. And there was some element where you had to establish within 3 years that you actually were the author. But since it's about copyright, it's a different issue, it doesn't really apply. So it didn't really do anything. It didn't really help anything, didn't change anything. They still haven't resolved any of the issues. Officially, it still hasn't been resolved. And the guy sort of made the example that no screenwriter is going to sue to protect their rights just because a film doesn't list them in the copyright notice. So it didn't do anything. The other thing that happened was interesting. Corey Haim, who has been talking about doing a Friday sequel with him in it for a long time, he said that he met a lawyer. It sounded like he just met him at some random party. At first it sounded like he was talking to him and it was someone they knew was involved in the case. Then in another description of it, in another article, it sounded like he just met him randomly. He said that the case was resolved already and that Victor Miller won. No, Sean S. Cunningham won. God, sorry if I'm confusing you. I'm confused myself. Supposedly Cunningham won, but this hasn't been stated anywhere, but they might have settled it somehow out of court, like quietly, and they're not really making a big press release, so it could have happened, but then again, it could just be a rumour because it seems like just some guy told him. But he's been pushing to do a film with Tommy Jarvis coming back for a while. So that's all I know about that. Apparently nothing's happening. The Blurays, they released a new Blu-ray set, but it's only the first 8 films with no special features or nothing new. And it's apparently the first 4 films though did get new transfers, but they're not in 4K. The first one's certainly not in 4K. Someone was complaining about that. So I was a bit disappointed because we did get it in Australia. Like, shock horror, we actually got the 8-disc Blu-ray set, but it is just there's nothing special, there's nothing new about it, just the fact that they're, Blu-ray. And like some people have complained, they're only 1080. So I was looking at the American one because Shout Factory did a really good one, and they did a big Friday the 13th collection that had all the films, and that's now really expensive, and I was hoping they would release that locally because it's different zones, so I can't watch it. So yeah, disappointed. I was really hoping that they would release that in time for this Friday the 13th. I was hoping it would just get a delayed release because sometimes things are exclusive for just a period of time in America and then they get released internationally, so we get them eventually in Australia. Like all the Shout Factory special editions of Psycho and Amityville and all that eventually came out later in box sets in Australia. So I'm still hoping to see the Friday the 13th ones. That hasn't happened yet. And when I looked online on JB Hi-Fi, all they had was, that's like our leading DVD sellers at the moment in Australia, all they had was Friday the 13th 1 on DVD and Friday the 13th 4 on DVD, some t-shirts, a jigsaw puzzle, not much really. Of course, a Tokyo Pop. Is it Tokyo Pop? No, Vinyl Pop, Pop Vinyl. Tokyo Pop was a manga label. I don't know where that came from. There's a couple pops and that's it. There's no Blu-rays, no nothing at all. So I've seen it online, on sale online. There's 13 items in the store for Friday the 13th, but none of them are Blu-rays. And although the box set was released in our zone, it was just the same, just like they did this really great DVD edition, special edition a few years ago with some commentaries and special features and documentaries and everything. And then they released it in Australia, stripped. It was just the discs. It was just the 8 discs for the 8 films. And they're exactly pretty much the same as the ones we already had. They just repackaged them and that's it. So it looks like that's what they're probably going to do. But, like I said, the Shout Factory ones did get released through one of the companies that, what's the name? I forgot the name. There's a company that usually handles those sort of releases here in Australia, and they did do Psycho and Amityville, which were both done by Shout Factory in sets. So hopefully we'll get it. But I'm kind of feeling like if we haven't gotten it yet, we're not going to get it. But, because this is I think it was like the one Friday the 13th this year, so I thought they would have aimed for it. But apparently they didn't. So, yeah. I don't know. I feel like I need some more Friday the 13th merchandise. I mean, I've got a couple of masks. I've got the old Sideshow dolls of almost all of them. I don't have Freddy vs. Jason, which I should have got because I just didn't like them so much. And now they're expensive because they're made like a decade ago. So yeah, there's not much happening in Friday the 13th land, and that's because of the copyright issue. If they were making films, they'd be making merchandise, they'd be doing more. And the only thing they're really doing is just re-releasing the Blu-rays. I think they've been released separately and in steelbooks as well as in the set. And they're all the same DVD and they've got no extra special features. They're just repackaging the same thing over and over again. That's all we're getting. All America's getting. We're not even getting that here in Australia. But I'm going to enjoy the films either way. I'm really late. It's already 1:35 a.m. I should have started watching the first film right after like 12 o'clock, which is what I usually do, but I just got distracted doing stuff. But yep, I'm gonna go. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. How's the Friday the 13th merch in your area? And if you have any news that you've heard or any gossip about the lawsuit, please let me know in the comments, because like everyone else, I'm just sitting there waiting for it to end, because we all want another Friday. We've been waiting forever. We'll get it eventually. Eventually, one day maybe. I'm gonna go. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Bye.